Hello everybody, welcome to another Partner CPRM video tutorial. This time we're going to be learning about questions, specifically how to create and add new questions to your question library so you can use those to capture relationship data from the different members of your network or ecosystem. So to get started, we're going to first navigate to the question library here underneath the library section here of the navigation menu. And when you first come here for the very first time, as you can see, there will be no questions until we make one. So we'll start by going up here to the top and clicking Add, and then clicking Question. The first thing you're going to have to decide is what type of question you want it to be. And I'll do a quick explanation of these. At the very top are all of our partner provided questions, both relational questions and non-relational. And these are taken from our default community partner survey, which aligns with a lot of the metrics found in the analyzer and a lot of the interpretation guidance we provide. So if you're new to SNA and you're not sure how to come up with your own questions and you're not really sure what to ask, we recommend starting with some of these. Relational questions refer to the fact that you're going to be asking a question about a relationship they have. And so this is, for example, going to cause the lines in your network map to change color, for example, depending on what the response is. A non-relational question, this is sort of a normal survey question. You're just asking a respondent or a member of your network a question about themselves. You're not asking it about their relationship with someone else. So just to give you some examples, if I click the relational options, you'll then see, for example, we have our 3 value questions and our 3 trust questions. If you add all 6 of these questions, or at least 3 or 3, the system will automatically calculate value scores and trust scores based on their responses and display that over in the network analyzer and network scores page. So we also have these other questions, for example, how frequently do you interact? How would you describe the relationship intensity? Then, how would you describe the nature of the relationship? What kinds of activities do you do together? Really helpful prompts to get some great feedback and data later on. You can also switch again to the non-relational option here, and we have a good number of different questions to choose from, including open-ended, single choice, multiple choice, and matrix. So there's great content there. The other question types, though, we have are all going to be customizable 100%. So it starts out blank, and you come up with whatever you would like to ask. The most important question that you're going to have to consider if you want to do network mapping and see those relationships is this network member selection question. And just like it sounds, this is the question that you'll show to each respondent, asking them essentially to identify or select which of the network members they know, to essentially paint that line later on between their node and the other nodes. There are 4 different types of approaches you can use for this. Generally speaking, we recommend using the bounded list option. And this means that whoever you send this survey to, that respondent list, those are the same members who will show up in a list for each respondent to select from. So if they know everyone, all the other respondents, they can just click everyone. And if they only know 1 or 2 members, they can just click those 2 people. The name generator option essentially lets everyone just enter in names of everyone they think they're connected in. So it's sort of the opposite approach. But this will require some data cleaning on your part because people tend to use different names, acronyms, spellings, and it produces a lot of duplicates that need to get cleaned up. A sort of middle compromise option is the bounded list plus the name generator. So you start with a list, that you come up with, but then you give different respondents the option to generate more names if, they notice there are people missing. This will still require cleanup, but less than the first option. And then lastly, we have the full ecosystem list. So if you want to only send, this survey out to, a subset of your whole ecosystem, but you want to identify relationships across, all possible members, then you should use the ecosystem list question. The other types of questions are more standard. We have for relational questions, single choice, multiple choice, and ego map choices. Ego maps are for our Partner Me tool. So really, single choice and multiple choice are going to be your main options here. And again, this is asking your partner. Once they have identified all of the members that they know, you then follow up and ask them either single choice or multiple choice questions about each of the members they selected. So that's how we understand not just whether or not a relationship exists, but actually what is the nature of that relationship. The non-relational options are just sort of typical survey questions of, single choice, multiple choice, or open-ended. And then lastly, we have our matrix question, which lets you present a number of different prompts, anywhere from 4 to 10 or 15. And then for each prompt, give them the same set of options to select. So you create like a matrix essentially of rows and columns, so you can get a lot of feedback quickly using the same responses. So just to show you an example here, I'm going to add first an example of a bounded list question. So I might ask here, which of these network members do you have a relationship with? If you select the group network option, it'll essentially sort your list by one of the attributes you use when it displays the list with response options, just to make it a little easier for people to find, who they're looking for. If for example, that it's a little easier to make sense of the list if they can sort by sector, we might select the sector option here. So we can save that after I've entered in the text, and now you'll see the question shows up right here. And it's as simple as that. You can repeat that as many times as you need to. Here we can look at some of our partner-provided questions. So if I wanted to add our 3 trust questions, for example, I can first add the first one on reliability. And then I can add the second one on mission alignment, sharing a mission. And then last but certainly not least, we can add the third one on openness to discussion. And so that's just an example of how you might add some of those in. You'll see here on the right, it'll always tell you the type. And for these partner provided options, if they are a score type question, it'll always give you a reminder of what score this question feeds. So that is how we add most of your options. The only other one that I want to make sure I show here is in the non-relational single select or multiple choice space, you will have to provide answer options. And so, I could literally ask here, what is your favorite color? And if I wanted to for answers, I have 3 choices here. I can first copy answer options from a different question. So if I'm asking, first to choose which of these activities you engage in, I could then ask another question of, which of those types of engagement are most important, and I could just copy the answers over so I don't have to re-enter them in. I can always also use a respondent's answer. So if I had them select, the 5 resources that they are, providing to the network, I could then ask them which of those 5 resources they believe is most important. So you can use their response options to feed the options for a future question. Or most commonly, you'll just use your own custom responses to add in. And so if the 2 buttons here are what we use to add those response options. So you can do this individually, just like that. But if you have a lot of the options, you're adding 15 options and they're longer, you can also use the bulk add choice, in which you just put in each of the response options, 1 per line. And when you're all good to go, you hit insert response options and they'll all be inserted. If you do want an other please specify option, just check that there and it'll add that for you. And then lastly, you can also drag around these to change the order or delete them as well. Once you're ready to go, you can hit save and this will be added as well. One note on question types. The single choice questions, the non-relational ones, are often used to gather essentially additional member attributes from your members. And that's great because if you use this non-relational single choice, you can actually color your nodes in your map using these answers. It's important to note that you cannot do that with multiple choice. And that's for the simple reason that, if multiple members have selected multiple options, it becomes a little complicated to decide, which one should be displayed as their primary color. So if you do want to use an answer for color coding, make sure that you are using the single choice option and not the multiple choice option. That about does it here today for this question video tutorial. Next time we will discuss how to create a question set or a question group, which is the best way to set up a survey, save yourself time, and get ready to use that to capture real world data from your network members. So thanks for joining us.